Well, here at WUSA 9, we report on the environment because of the impact that it has on all of us. That's why tonight we're taking you to Jefferson County, West Virginia. Jefferson County is about 60 miles northwest of D.C. and the easternmost county in the state.
Yeah, so there's an environmental controversy there over plans to bottle spring water near a site with a legacy of underground contamination. Residents are also worried about what the plan might mean for their own wells. Here's environmental impact reporter Scott Broom in Jefferson County.
It's a place where pure spring water collects in deep blue holes, where an old factory looms nearby, and where an historic village fears an environmental calamity from a scheme to pump huge volumes of groundwater from wells. Welcome to Middleway, West Virginia, where the 3M Corporation and Eastman Kodak used to operate this plant and left a toxic legacy in the water underground.
We're afraid it's going to diminish the water that's available for our wells, and then also we're worried that that toxic plume will move and our wells will be contaminated.
Stacy Chapman lives in Middleway, where she says it's ironic that a venture called Mountain Pure aims to pump water from near the springs and bottle it on the old site, where the state will not allow uses like housing or healthcare because of the historic contamination.
And all we've asked for is studies. We've asked for them to study the feasibility of what they're doing and assure us that what we fear won't happen.
Our background is real estate development.
Sean Matterson is the principal of a California-based company called Sidewinder, which is behind the Mountain Pure project. It's marketed as Mountain Pure, that's the name of the company, and yet you've selected a site that has contamination problems, and it's groundwater. How do you level that?
So that's a very fair question, and we've heard this before. The water source itself is almost 1.5 miles away, so we're not taking any groundwater from where the existing plant resides, and while also via the water line providing fire hydrants in an area that doesn't have fire hydrants, so it helps from a community benefit standpoint.
Matterson points out that the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection has declared the toxic trichloroethylene and dichloroethylene contamination has been remediated, and development with some limitations is allowed. Mountain Pure has already drilled a test well where it pumped 9 million gallons of water in just 5 days. Tamar Kavaljan-Liskey's family farm is nearby. So what happened here when the test well was drilled and Mountain Pure started pulling water up?
Within 3 days, the lake receded 8 feet on his side, so it went down, and it dropped at least a foot. We have observed, and we're not accustomed to it, the water is cloudy. There seems to be particulates in it, looks muddy. The wetlands have dried up. And this part of the county, everyone is on a well. When you have that kind of extraction occurring, everyone's potentially significantly impacted if our wells go dry.
Nicholas Wolf is Mountain Pure's hydrologist. What assurances can you give people that the water table just doesn't drop like a rock?
We only saw about 5.5 feet of drawdown in the actual pumping well itself, and then the monitoring wells that we had in place, we saw less than a few inches of impact during that test at that high rate. The spring itself, Lake Louise, did not see any impact at all during the testing.
If someone's well is impacted, we'll build them a new well, we'll maintain their well and sort of dig it deeper if need be.
Complicating matters is the geology here, called karst, well known for caverns, sinkholes, and water flowing freely under the surface. Walt Eifert is a career hydrologist who's worked on Superfund sites and is advising residents.
One of my fears is that if you start a 1,200 gallon per minute pump, you could actually pull that water toward that pump.
And there's multiple different geological formations that separate the contaminated portion of the site to where the extraction well will be.
So for practical purposes, that contamination is essentially firewalled on that site?
Correct.
Eifert, the retired hydrologist, says there's not enough data to prove the plant is safe. People in favor of Mountain Pure focus on the economic impact. Matterson said the total investment will be $170 million, with 150 jobs paying an average of $60,000 a year and $28 million in annual local and state tax revenue. Big numbers for a county with less than 60,000 residents.
Middleway understands that 3M is zoned industrial, and we're not against business. We just want a good business that's going to be good to the community.
In Middleway, West Virginia, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.